Hi, I'm Joe Littlehorn, and this video is about the Kingpin Ignite Heated Goggle from 509. You can skip ahead to specific portions of this video if you like by clicking on the timecode links in the description below. To start, these goggles are housed in 509's premium hardshell case, which right now is only available with the Ignite series. Inside, you've got the goggles, a battery, and a battery charger, which uses your standard 2-prong wall plug-in. They also give you a battery tether. If you remove the foam, in the bottom of the case, you'll find your warranty card and instruction manual, and this little package with 4 battery pads. They should also give you a goggle sleeve. I've found that the rough side works really well as a cleaning cloth. There are 6 color options for this goggle. The one I have here is called Particle Orange and comes with a dual-pane, rose-tinted fire mirror lens. This package here prices out at $133, although you can spend up to $200 if you order your goggles with a polarized lens. 509 also offers this in an XL version, which has 20% more face foam for people that want more protection in harsher elements. Looking at the goggle itself, while I haven't had a chance to test this particular pair out yet, I have used the regular non-heated version Kingpin goggle for a few seasons, and I can confidently say that it's my favorite style goggle that 509 makes for 3 specific reasons. In the past, using some of 509's other goggles like the X5s, the lens tends to get blocked with snow on deep powder days because the frame sticks out quite a bit and creates a sort of crater, which retains all that white fluffy goodness. As you can see with these, the profile of the Kingpin is very sleek, and the frame holds close to the lens, which means snow is going to hit the lens and slide off easily without getting trapped in your viewing area. I also really like how comfortable the Kingpins are. With most other goggles, when I pull them off at the end of the day, I can feel that my face is a little irritated from the way the foams are shaped, but I don't notice it near as much with the triple layered foam on the Kingpin. The non-heated standard version of the Kingpin is also 509's most affordable goggle, starting at just $55. Something that I also think is pretty cool is that the Ignite Kingpin and the standard non-heated Kingpin frames are the same, which means you can convert the standard pair you may already have into one that's heated. You just need an Ignite lens and a battery. The first thing you'll want to do is charge up the battery. When it's completely dead, I've found that it takes just a little over 4 hours to charge up, and while it's plugged in, you can monitor the charging progress by looking at the LED. According to the instruction manual, flashing red light means it's 0 to 50% charged, a flashing blue light means it's 51 to 90% charged, and a solid blue light means it's 91 or more % charged. This battery has an IP57 rating, which means it's protected from limited dust ingress and is submersible in water to about 3 feet deep. The battery attaches to the goggle strap with these 4 plastic tabs. You want to make sure the plug-in port is facing toward the front. The 509 logo should be up. Then put the goggle strap under the tabs and pull the strap back and forth until it's in there all the way. When you put your goggles on your helmet, the back of the battery will sit against the helmet shell, and as it rubs, it could scratch things up. So that's where these 4 pads come in place. Simply peel off the white backing and stick them onto the battery tabs. If you're worried about the battery falling off, you can tether it to the goggle strap. Next, you can connect the cable from the lens to your battery. I wish the connector had some sort of locking mechanism. It seems like you could potentially catch this cable on a branch and yank it out, but we'll see if this proves to be an issue during field testing. Once you've connected the battery, you're ready to go. If you don't want to mount the battery on your helmet, you can get an extension cable and keep it in a coat pocket. The unit has 2 different modes, a 2-minute quick melt and always on. To use the quick melt mode, press and hold the power button for 3 seconds. The battery will beep 3 times, and the light will flash blue. The battery will automatically turn itself off after 2 minutes. To use the always on mode, go into quick melt mode and tap the power button once. It will emit 2 more beeps and the light will be solid. To turn the battery off, tap the power button 1 more time. You'll hear 3 beeps and the light will shut off. Colorado is known for big mountains and blue skies, but we have our fair share of cloudy days too, so I also carry a yellow tinted lens with me for when there's flat light conditions or when there's poor visibility. The wires here seem to be pretty small and look somewhat fragile, so if you decide to do a lens swap, be careful not to pull too hard or put too much pressure on them. First, pop out the mount where the cable goes into the frame, but leave the cable hanging out the bottom. Next, pull the frame apart, grabbing above the nose and in the middle of the forehead. The lens should separate from the frame in these 2 places. Then you can rotate the 2 mounting clips until they're flat and slide the lens away from the frame. You can now pull the cable all the way through the frame. Now that you've got the old lens off, you can repeat this process in reverse to install the new lens. Inserting the cable, fitting the new lens behind the mounting clips and locking them in, snapping the lens in place, and seating the cable mount to the frame. Well, I've sat around talking about this, but now let's see how it performs. For a quick test, I've sprayed the lens with water, and now I'll put it in the freezer. Cold temperatures can also affect battery performance, and in true backcountry conditions, the battery will be just as frozen as the lens. So I'm going to throw it in the freezer too and see if that makes any difference. Now that the goggles are frozen, let's see how fast they melt out. The next step in our testing is to get this thing out on the snow and actually put it to use. are. Probably the biggest part of any review. Fresh out of the box mintiness aside, the real reason you're watching this is because you are interested in performance. You'll be happy to know that I've had the opportunity to put this goggle to the test across a full spectrum of weather and snow conditions this past year. Sun, clouds, low visibility, cold temperatures, warm temperatures with that sticky spring snow, bottomless, light, fluffy powder billowing over that every snowmobiler I know dreams about, and even while riding at night. It was re-emphasized to me just how much I like the Kingpin style with its low-profile frame and wide viewing area. I really appreciate the full coverage of them on my snowmobile helmet and even on my ski helmet. They seal well, don't leave gaps for cold air and snow to get in. I swapped lenses several times throughout the season and never had any issues with the wires, nor did I have any problems with the battery cable getting pulled out like I was concerned about. Lens swaps were simple and easy once you know the proper way to do it. The defrost capability works well, but would work better with a few adjustments. I found the battery lasting just long enough for a full day's ride on the days it was needed, but only if you ration the power. If you leave it in always-on mode all day, you're likely to find your goggles running out of juice shortly after lunch. 509 acknowledges this on their website, saying that the battery will only support continuous operation for 4 to 5 hours, which I found to be true. Though I only had this issue a couple of times, it would be nice to have more battery power to last throughout the day without having to worry about conserving. You can carry an extra battery, but it would be better if you didn't have to. The good news is that, in my experience, the lithium-ion battery didn't ever seem affected by the cold. The LED indicators are nice, but the audible beep was hard to hear with my helmet on, especially if my sled was running in the background. I hope they crank the volume up a bit more so it's easier to keep track of what mode you're in. The quick melt mode seemed too short. I feel like they should increase the amount of time it stays on, which is what you see with some of the other brands who have made it to where the mode is active for 3 minutes instead of 2 like the Ignite. 509 is boasting a wireless app connectivity coming soon, which will hopefully make some of these things possible. The battery does look a little bulky, but I never felt like it was a hindrance to how I ride, nor did I have to worry about losing it in the trees since it is really secure with the provided tether. One thing I found out is that the battery has to be connected to a lens to operate. It took me a while to figure out why the battery wasn't turning on when I was trying to test it. So remember that if you can't get your battery to work, you have to connect the cable. The functionality of the heated lens works very similar to the defrost in a car, but with one key difference. A car's defrost works to remove fog from the inside of the windshield by means of 2 things. You have heat and airflow. This system provides the heat, but relies on you to provide the airflow that circulates through the vents while you're moving. If you're not moving fast enough to circulate air, there won't be anything to carry away that fog. Unfortunately, one of the most frequent causes of fog in goggles in the first place is in circumstances exactly like this. So don't expect these goggles to completely remove fog if you're not moving or are moving very slow. However, since you still have heat, which is 50% of the equation, your fog problem will still be 50% better than a regular pair of goggles. One major problem in goggles is when they fog up and then freeze. Then, even when you start riding faster and get some airflow, it won't do you any good. And if it fogs between the panes, you won't be able to wipe it out either. The Ignite system does a great job at keeping the fog from freezing so it can evacuate. It kept fog from freezing or from building up too heavily, but wasn't uncomfortably warm on my face. Of course, you can use it as a regular pair of goggles, but you'll have to tuck that loose cable behind the goggle strap if you're riding without the battery. When it comes to price, there are definitely some cheaper options out there, but the MSRP for these goggles is right around average on the spectrum, fluctuating up or down quite a bit depending on which package you get. The one last thing I noticed was that the battery charger comes as permanently built to be plugged into the wall. A lot of newer vehicles have inverters in them, but it would be nicer if this cable came in USB so you would have greater flexibility of where you could charge it up if you needed to. Hopefully I covered everything and answered any questions you may have had. If not, let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and happy trails.